Good day, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Obstacle Discourse with Davis and Chace. For those of you new to the program, this is a show that goes live every Thursday where Josh Chace of New England Spartans and Matt B. Davis of, well, this channel dive into weekly news topics. It's about 15 to 30 minutes, and we hope you enjoy the regular episodes of Matt Davis's amazing interviews and live stuff and whatever the heck else I do is every Tuesday, 6 a.m. Thanks so much for listening. Let's go to the news theme. All right, Josh is being extremely safe. His eyes are on the road, but we are using an app where I can see him. Are those Gooder shades?
They are not Gooder shades. They are just like $1.99 super shades.
Well, clearly you're not as cool as the rest of the OCR kids. You didn't partner with Gooder?
I was not proud to announce that I had partnered with Gooder. Maybe after seeing this, they'll be proud to announce.
Well, I want to give what's his name some credit, Fergie Gone Wild, because the first rule of busting somebody's balls on the internet. I'm not going to use the word troll, even though I just did. Is that if they're in on the joke and they like what you say and they mean it, or they comment back and then you lay off of them. And when I said to him, "Just partnered with me, you got a box in the mail," he was like, "I'm pretty sure it does." So I was like, "All right, you get a pass."
Like, damn it, you didn't fall for my trap.
Right. But all right, I want to get to the exciting news, which isn't a surprise to most, but Ultra World Championships is being announced by the time this goes out tomorrow. Do you have a guess where it is?
I'm going to go either Norway or Sweden.
It is, in fact, Aria, Sweden. It's ARE. I think it's Aria. I sound like Sandy on your show, where I say something wrong a lot. Sorry, Sandy. Love you. And the only caveat is, but isn't, that it's a week before World's Toughest.
It is, or it isn't?
Well, I'm saying it is, but that used to be a problem, but maybe not so much anymore for the reasons that we can talk about in a minute. Because I just, of course everyone's going to say they did it on purpose. They didn't. I was talking to Spartan and they were like, listen, for a second I thought it was the same week. And I thought, well, everyone's going to say you did it on purpose. And it's like, no, trust me, it's not. It's just when it all worked out. So it's been first week of December for 2 years. Now it's moved back to second week of November or end of first week. I know it's a week before WTN.
That's an interesting move, but I'm sure it's probably much colder there. Well, maybe not colder there than in Iceland, but I like it in November. December is a great time to do things, but there's just too much crap going on. So hopefully pre-Thanksgiving, at least for the folks in the States, people are going to lose their mind. They're going to say, why isn't it in North America? That was my best Matt Davis hot take.
Are you channeling my hot take complainer guy?
Yes.
I don't think anybody's going to say that. They're going to say they definitely did it to stick a finger in Tough Mudder's. I almost said eye, and then I was like, ass? Like, where are they sticking their finger? They're sticking their finger somewhere. But much like my Spartan schedule the race on your same local race hot take, it's similar. I just think it's when it worked out.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, international scheduling can be a hassle, I'm sure, at worst. So, is there anything of note of this location? Like, why Aria, Sweden?
Well, I thought the same thing, and then I thought, well, somebody happens to be headquartered there. I don't think that city, but that country. Can you guess who's headquartered there?
Oh God, is it Kraft?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, all right. It took me a second, and then I got it. Yeah, European clothing apparel. Can I give a shout out to Kraft for a second?
If you acknowledge that they're not paying for or supporting this podcast.
Yes, this is in no way a sponsored ad opinion. So the last weekend or the last event at Shale Hill was this past weekend. So Shale Hill, Vermont, people who don't know, it's a permanent obstacle course, was intrinsic in the rollout of obstacle course racing in all of the Northeast. So they had a winter event there this weekend, and the temperatures were looking to be like negative 15 degrees, of which they were. So I went out to my local LL Bean and said, how much money can I spend to be not uncomfortable during this event? And I bought this double layer craft winter training running jacket. The thing was mint. I was not cold for an instant in this weather. I have to give them props. It was an amazing piece of gear. Very impressed.
Dude, shout out for the term mint. Haven't heard that one in a minute.
Mint. Bringing back the 90s, buddy. Mint.
I feel like that was a Boston thing.
That might have been a Boston thing. You're right. Because actually, I think when I went out to see my brother in California and I said that, people were like, oh, what's that mean?
You know what I haven't heard enough of since I left Boston?
Don't say wicked.
No. Hey, you all set?
You guys all set?
That's all Boston all the time, right? Or
I didn't realize that.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Or like, you offer me a beer and I already have one. I'm like, no, I'm all set, kid.
I was always a big fan of us turning like 6 words into one. Like you go meet up with a buddy. You're like, G yet? Like, what? What? That's always my chuckle. Everybody always complains about how fast we talk or whatever, but it's more about the fact that we take syllables and just mash them together.
Right. Well, it's interesting though because we kept hearing Norway or Sweden, and it just we thought, okay, well that's just a cool way to put it. And then when I read the historic mountain village of Aria is an adventure seeker's dream destination next door to Spartan's official performance apparel and footwear partner, Craft Sportswear of Sweden. And it was like, oh well. Basically, as soon as they signed the ink, they were probably like, cool, let's get some eyes on this. So another couple quick other points of note. They did raise the money. So instead of a 6K top prize, it's 8. 4K for second, 2,500 for third. And the other piece of news, which I don't want to get too much into because we will when it's announced, is they are definitely working on a thing, the prize thing, right?
Yep.
X plus Y equals C to get to. And they want to keep it alive so that it's not just like, well, if this one guy or gal doesn't do it, it's dead. So that's being worked on. And this will be a part of it. This will be the final piece of the proverbial puzzle.
So you're talking about the $1 million, obviously, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I expect an overly complicated way to win the $1 million, but hopefully, see, the thing is with incentives, if you make it unachievable, then people are going to write it off. So it has to be achievable, but I don't know if Spartan really wants it to be achievable. So that's a careful balance game that they have to play.
Well, there's this article that Spartan wrote. They actually, like, if you blog and look for things to find information, you occasionally run into Zendesk. You occasionally run into lifedartspartan.com. And there was this, like, Joe DeSena interviews John Albin. And I'm pretty sure it's PR person sent these questions to John Albin and he typed them back. But Joe/Spartan lays out this, you get this many points. And if you get this many miles, you get this many points. Basically they said, what do you think about this kind of system? And John was like, sounds super complicated. Sounds like you're trying to make it impossible. He's like, pretty much the only person on the planet that could have done it last year was Atkins, and he didn't do it. So you better get rid of the 100-mile thing unless you're going to make the course way easier.
Right. And, and we said this, last year. It's like 100 miles at World's Toughest Mudder is achievable. And it's a challenge, obviously, and not a lot of people do it, but it's achievable. But 100 miles at a Spartan, when you put all the Spartan obstacles in there, I don't know. I don't know if it can be something as simple as a mileage mark with Spartan Race. It's too, I don't want to say challenging, but it's too intrusive. I don't know. But I'm sure they'll come up with something.
But they also need to set them up to win because, as we also learned, to get 100 last time, you would have had to get 104.9, right? So right. It needs to be just number of laps and make it, you know what I mean? And make it like not that, you know what I'm trying to say? Where you've got to go back in the course for another 2 hours to get 0.1 miles or whatever.
Right.
All right. So let's move over to, it feels like it's been a month now, but I don't think we've talked since Mudder took their prize money away.
Yeah, that's right. That was our last conversation with HPod.
Oh, wait a minute. So we did talk about it.
We did talk about it.
Okay, so I feel like, so what was the other news then? I don't want to talk about that again then.
They announced their series officially in meme format. No, that's sorry. That's not, that one's not a meme. Those are industry term. Those are called infographics.
Infographic, yes, infographic. Kind of like when they say such and such is the preferred vendor. The preferred form of communication with Spartan is absolutely the meme these days.
Yes.
The Instagram infographic.
The sad part is it's not their preferred method of communication. It's how audiences prefer to receive communications, which is even worse.
Well, I get that infographics are fun, right? Like I'm trying to make one for World's Toughest Mudder mileage thing, right? I had some guys do some research. I'm trying to make a cool infographic, but I think they're good. But I feel like the infographics should come out later. It should first be explained in depth, and then you go, okay, here's this thing to kind of point to. Don't you think?
Right. It should be an accompanying. Oh God, I'll get there. An accompanying piece of communication in a holistic package.
What did you just say? What did you just say?
So if you release an infographic, it should come along with all of the data that the infographic represents. So here's the Zendesk article, here's the press release, here's the Facebook post, and here's the infographic. So it's got to be a nice package. Like, here you go. Here's all the stuff. Here's the complicated stuff for you nerds out there. Here's the everyday stuff. And here's the infographic for you Instagram people.
So I want to give you another very interesting piece of news that you'll find amusing. I got info on Stadion, right?
Yep.
And it was like, hey, this comes out tomorrow. You can go ahead and release it. I was like, okay. And then I made my article, did my nice little history of the Stadion, right? Mm-hmm. And then Spartan writes me back and goes, oh, by the way, we're adding a 5th location. It's just not determined yet.
Oopsies. So did they tell you what the location is?
No, but the point is like we've spent so many hours talking about, like, come on, guys, it's not your first rodeo. Like, quit treating it like you're a fucking mom and pop shop.
But it is their first Stadion.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you don't give a press release and then super casually, oh yeah, but we forgot to give you one. Okay, so basically everything I said is wrong, and you know what I mean. And information that people have to Google is wrong, and you just don't do it. It's just,
listen, Matt, you're not wrong. Your information's just incomplete. Those are two very subtle differences. Okay.
It just frustrates the shit out of me.
So you want to know what's frustrating for me as a Bostonian? I'm close enough to Boston where I can call myself a Bostonian, so please don't give me crap for that.
I'm not.
Is Boston Stadion.
Because they haven't inked the Fenway deal yet?
I know, but so I'm sure it's going to be Fenway. I know it's going to be Fenway, but it's just weird for you to call it Boston Stadion because, I don't know, maybe now that the Patriots have won the Super Bowl, sorry, Rams fans, even though there aren't any of you, wouldn't it be great if they moved it to Gillette? It'd be amazing. That's not going to happen. It's going to be at Fenway Park, obviously, but it would be great.
I mean, of all the cities to kind of do that to, because they're famous for, like, the Chicago Sprint is in Indiana or vice versa, and all that, 90 minutes within the venue. Of all the things to do that with, Fenway is the legit draw. So to not use the word Fenway, maybe MLB is like, you can't use the word Fenway anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that could have happened.
True. There is a lot of logistical nightmares when it comes to sports sponsorship. So I don't envy their position.
I do want to know what the feeling was in your house on Sunday, though. How are you doing?
I mean, that game was, if you're a traditionalist when it comes to football and you like the defensive game, like Bill Belichick probably thought that was an amazing game. I mean, let's be honest, that game was boring AF. I don't want to say it. But it was like you were just waiting for something to happen for 3.75 quarters. Like, somebody do something.
But see, here's my take on it. That is what made it exciting to me. We're one play away from changing everything, and the Rams had not one but 2 touchdowns essentially dropped. Right? There was
I said during that
the duck he threw to the end zone, right? And then the amazing defensive play. But every time I was like, fuck, Goff is going to rip one of these things off and a defender's going to fall down. It's just, you get tired in 3 hours.
Right, and knowing our history of stupidly miraculous plays, right? The Manningham catch on the sideline, the Tyree helmet catch, what was that guy's name? Curse, the Seattle bounce off the chest and off the knee catch. I was like, something's going to happen, and I said it like at halftime or something, that Patriots fans are like one completed pass away from jumping out of a window at this point, because it just looked like it was going to go wrong again. But that McCourty play in the end zone where he closed like 20 yards in the span of 3 seconds,
right?
That was MVP play right there. I honestly think if Edelman had like 15 less yards, that would have earned him the MVP, because that was an amazing football play. But this is going to sound weird. I'm almost numb to Patriots championships now. It was like, that's cool, but there wasn't as much excitement. And the parade yesterday was great and all, and obviously there were a ton of people there, and there was a whole lot of Patriots fans on my Facebook feed yesterday that weren't Patriots fans for the last 4 months, but everybody's at the parade around here.
This is what I said to Stacy. So my wife goes to bed early. She woke up the next day. I said, "We won, honey." She's like, "You don't sound that excited." I'm like, "Well, them winning the Super Bowl is me about here. Them losing is not equivalent." Do you know what I'm saying? Some people are as equally happy when they win as they are when they lose. I do not have that. True fact. When we lost to the Giants the first time, and it got down to like we still had a shot, and remember Gronk like almost caught the
the Hail Mary. It was 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I had to go for a 5-mile run because I didn't know what to do with myself. I was sitting there because I was so sure we were going to do it again. And when we didn't, my body was in shock. I'm like, honey, I'm just going to go for a fucking run right now, because so had we lost, my wife knows like I'm depressed for like 2 days, but us winning now, I'm like, all right, cool. I don't have to be depressed for 2 days. Well, you know what the worst thing was, and I'm going to try not to humble brag here, but so they lose the first time to the Giants. So at that time, I had season tickets. So I said, we're going to the Super Bowl against the Giants again. There is no way we're losing. I invest a large chunk of money to go to the game in Indianapolis, and they lost again. And I just kind of wandered around Indianapolis at night, like everybody's partying. This sucks.
Right.
But we had been so accustomed to winning all the time, every time. It's like, I don't know. Oh, well. The Bruins, if they win, I will be at a 12 on a scale of 1 to 4. So
yeah, well, but they won not too long ago.
They won in 2011, but that seems like a lifetime ago.
Oh wow!
When 9 teams have won a championship in Boston since then.
Well, so that's the thing, by the way, is everyone wants to hate on us and talk about like how like listen, I was born in 1972. Okay. The Patriots sucked forever, right? Even though we squeezed in a Super Bowl that we got killed by the Bears. We squeezed in a Super Bowl. We got beat by the Packers. The Sox didn't suck, but we had that curse, right?
Right.
Celts were good in the 80s, but then sucked for another 20 years. And so now in the 2000s and the 2010s, it's been great to be a Boston fan. And we'll miss it when it's gone. But trust me, I grew up with a very sad team to root for. Oh, and the Falcons was my other team to root for, who also sucked for 40 years.
And it's not even that it's been good to be a Boston fan for the last 20 years. It's unprecedented how absurd an 18-year-old child's life has been. Like, no wonder we live in a generation of like spoiled kids, because they know nothing except winning. It's absurd how good the teams are up here. But that being said, they've invested a ton of money, so I guess they earn the return on it. So,
all right, we have now completely alienated the people who were like, I hate football.
Welcome to Sports Talk.
Well, it was bound to happen. Did you go to a party, or were you just at your house?
No, I was. This was my most low key Super Bowl ever. I don't know. As I gained the years on my my timeline, my desire to go out and associate with screaming sports fans is less and less.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing too, is that if I don't have a dog in the fight, I'm not even I might go to a party for the first half and eat a bunch of food and then just go home and watch the rest, but don't even really care. Yeah. If the Pats are playing, I'm in my house because I'm a fucking lunatic and I just don't want to. I don't want to have to deal. And God forbid, I do have to pause to put the pause to put the kids to bed or whatever, and then I can come back and watch on my own pace. Like it's you know what I mean?
I will have to say that and I haven't listened to any podcasts or anything from it yet, but your Super Bowl media coverage, that was pretty intense looking. I had been to like the fan experience before, but to see all the athletes and everything that you got to interview, even if they were short form interviews, that was good stuff.
Well, here's the deal, and I'm going to talk about this in the podcast. I was so grateful to get a pass, but it turns out they're not that hard to get for that stuff. Now, getting a ticket to the game is an entirely another level because of the value of a ticket. So, for example, one of the days these guys had on, like, all the cops have like a different thing, right? It says AAA, all access, whatever, and then there's different levels, right? Like mine said MX, and I don't even know what that means, other than I got to go to the places I got to go. I think M is media and X is experience. Just figured that out after
sounds about right.
Week and a half. But I remember hearing a security member scold another security member because they wore their day of game stuff too early. And they're like, don't wear those. Like, don't bring those out until Sunday. So I'm okay with that, by the way. And it turns out most of the media and players and, stars all the same way. Like, you stay in the game? No, fuck that. I'm going to be watching on my couch. Like, nobody cares about the game unless they're, a Ram or a Patriot, I guess.
I mean, who really wants to go see the game from like the 70th row? I mean, I have a friend who goes to every single Super Bowl, no matter who's playing. So for them, it's about the experience. But like, if I'm going to watch the Patriots, now that stadium is absurd. That Halo LCD screen that they have is ridiculous. But who wants to go watch the game where the players are like this big and you don't get to actually see any play? I want to watch it in high definition on my couch, stuffing my face with nachos that don't cost me $19.
Right. And we can get into this, by the way, because this is, I like to do Tech Corner with Josh because that's the whole thing, right? The fan experience. How do we make it better? How can we put shit on their mobile phone? How can we make the food even better? And they did that. So they got all the hipster restaurants all have like a little corner in the stadium, right? So instead of it being just shitty hamburgers, it's you're going to pay for it, but at least it's going to be like dope food, right?
Yeah. All right. So Tech Corner,
this show used to be 8 minutes, by the way. Now it's an hour. Remember when the show was going to be 8 minutes a week?
Yeah, I'm trying to navigate a rotary, so sorry. You people outside of Massachusetts don't know rotary problems.
Look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
So I just came up with a great idea. So at a live game, you know what I would love? All right, I'm going to nerd out for a second. You know how Pokemon, you use your camera and you're looking at something in real life, but it overlays a little video game character in there. So it's called augmented reality, right?
Right.
What if I'm at the game in this technologically superior stadium and I hold up my phone and I point it at the field and you start putting like labels of the players, even though they're 9 miles away, you put a little label above the guy that says, this is Tom Brady. And when they throw a pass, do that little Fox Tracks thing that the NHL used to do back in the day and show me the pass because the ball is so far away, I can't bloody see the goddamn thing. So if I'm up there, let me watch it through my phone. That would be amazing. Man, I just came up with $1 billion idea.
Okay. So, now that we're sitting
I wish I had more money, man.
All right, so while we're sitting in Tech Corner, part of the fan experience was the sideline VR experience. Holy shit! Okay, you have the sideline view, right? And they cut. It was like it looked like they made it for like 6 games because they kind of kept showing the same 6 games. It was like an Oakland Denver game and these other games, and they showed you all the best stuff where like the ball's coming right at you, where beast mode goes like for a touchdown and you feel like you're next to him. But you literally are like, your brain doesn't know the difference, right? So you're literally like backing up and going, holy shit. And I'm like, talk about not leaving your house. Like, I know that technology is not quite here yet, but wow. Like, I was like, it was a really intense 3 minutes. And it's like, okay, so when they figure that out for movies and for porn and for whatever, like it might become the zombie apocalypse where we literally don't leave the house.
Well, it'll be like Ready Player One in the Oasis. We just wear goggles on our faces and we can be instantly transported anywhere without leaving our couch because we're fat asses.
Right. I really like that movie. I saw that with my son a few times. It was a good
movie. It's a better book.
Oh, shut up, nerd. Backing up. Yes, I'm gonna say this on the show, but because people will hear it twice if they skip this episode. So it's called Radio Row, right? This is where all these different and people just bounce around, and
Right.
and in that convention area, Fox has like half the space, right? And then ESPN has half the space, the NFL Network. But then all these little Radio Row is a bunch of tables, and I showed you like the Nesson guys.
Yep.
That's about as big as they get. I'm doing air quotes. The rest of them are like Joe Schmo Station in New Jersey. So here I was, no offense, New Jersey. So here I was thinking like, oh, well, I'm just the Atlanta podcast. What do I mean? But the truth is, none of those guys are anything, right? So when I would approach a player and say, would you come talk to me? It's only kind of like as we were sitting down, they're like, well, by the way, what show is this? Like, it just didn't matter. Like, being in that room means you're vetted, right? And as long as you don't act like an asshole, right, then you're kind of okay. And so I never thought I would ever go again. I'm like, well, this is cool. When the Super Bowl comes back in 5 years, because we have a brand new stadium, it'll probably come back. But, dude, I'm going to fly to Miami. It's to get that much access, I'm going to Miami. The next one's in Tampa. So 2 in a row within a short flight. I'm going.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's you're right, because, for them, it pays for them to kind of hit everybody, too, because most of them are doing some, did you find that some of them are doing like, hey, let me plug my charity thing, or let me plug this.
No, dude. No, I'm saying of course. And so there's basically like 3 levels. There's like, okay, like you're probably not going to get Jerry Rice, right?
Right.
But there's a bunch of players that you can ask if they have a minute, and they'll say yes, or they'll say, I'm just too busy. Maybe tomorrow. And then there's people who are like, would you talk to me? like Vance Johnson. Do you know who Vance Johnson is?
I know his name. I couldn't probably tell you what he did.
So he was one of the 3 amigos in the Denver 80s, one of the guys that Elway threw to. So he's got a little publicist going around going, would you have Vance Johnson on your show? Because he's promoting, his recovery center in Florida. And those guys might not get a lot of love, but I was thrilled because I grew up watching a bunch of these guys.
Well, it's an interesting crossover from the world of football to what used to be our obstacle course racing talk show.
Fucking Super Bowl was in town, man. Come on. I mean, I'm remember Will Hicks got curling fever or Olympic fever?
Hey, everybody gets curling fever when the Olympics comes around because the Olympics and curling are amazing.
So, I mean, I actually found myself saying when I was first talking about it is, as you saw, you literally I'm going to the bathroom and Eric Dickerson is next to me in the stall, right? So I was saying to somebody, I'm like, everybody's here. It's kind of like the Super Bowl of Super Bowl. It's like,
you're like awkward,
right?
I'm taking you with me because it's time to go to work.
Okay. Why do you have Xfinity season tickets on your jacket?
I don't. It was just a jacket that they gave me, and it's comfy, and it's like 9 degrees again here in New England. So I gotta stay warm somehow.
Okay, what were we supposed to talk about other than what we just talked about? Anything?
I don't know. Well, we covered the series, right? Oh, here's a question. So this came up yesterday in conversation. I'm sorry if it's windy.
It's okay.
So they publish all this stuff about the money, right? And I know they publish it on the Spartan Race account, which is the account for the elites and the pros. Do you think, and there is one other thing we have to talk about, do you think that people care when they publish the money? Like, it's cool that they publish the dates and everything, but do you think that they care? Most of the racers care to see what, Robert Killian and Ryan Atkins and everything are going to make?
I can tell you that the What Athletes Make articles get a lot of traction.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the end of the year, total payout article, right?
Right, but I'm saying we don't talk about that very much, right? That's not something we do on a regular basis, but the 2 times we've done it, a lot of shares, a lot of comments, a lot of traction. That's all I can tell you. So my answer would be, I think, let's look at it this way. The top guys certainly care, and then the guys who are in the 10 to 20 range probably think hey, maybe I can get some of that 10th place money. I don't know.
That $100 10th place money.
Does the average fan care? We can put that on the stories, a little stories poll.
There is one other thing.
Yes.
You have to yell now. I'm not in the car.
I feel like I've been yelling.
You have been yelling.
Okay, let's talk regular voice. Let's talk.
Do
Hang on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You don't really have to take an elevator? That's like fake when you do the elevator prep talks?
it's a 1 floor elevator. I don't have to take the elevator. Sorry. I should have done one live. Hang on. Do you think that the pro team members should have to run elite?
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Will they?
Who's they?
Any of them. So there's a big old growing list of people that have been invited, obviously.
Well, I think if they're not going to, that should be part of their plan, air quotes. Um, hey, I'm an age grouper. I'm an age group pro. I'm here with you guys showing you that 42-year-olds can do it, or that 26-year-olds who aren't the best can try to be the best. Like, that's how I would spin it instead of we're dropping down. Because, like, I'm sure they're going to spin it. I'm sure Watson would be like, we're all, I can't do a Watson impression. You know what I mean? Like, we want to represent all ages, blah, blah. Like, they should specify it, right?
Right.
But I'm guessing you agree?
I I do. I feel like you can't call yourself a pro team member and run age group. I feel like those two things are contradictory. Yeah, contradictory.
But when you use the word pro and you spread it across 200 people, does it mean anything?
Right. And that was the other piece of it too, is I feel like they've sort of devalued that pro team brand a little bit. I'm not taking anything away from the people that they invited, because if you got invited, obviously, and it was invite only. So if you got invited, there was obviously a reason for it. But when I think pro team, I think Killian, Faye, Rhea, right? I was going to say Ryan Woods. Sorry, Ryan. But now it's like everybody gets it. It's not everybody, but if you've got 200 plus pros, now it's just, why don't they just change the name of the elite division to the pro division? Because it seems like everybody that is going to run there is going to be a pro, unless you're like me and you just pay for an earlier start time. So I don't know. I feel like you should definitely have to run elite, especially in any of the series events. So if you want to run elite in like the Boston Sprint in May, fine, do that. But if you want to run elite at like Killington and you're a pro team member, you should have to. That's my 2 cents.
Well, again, it's like, I think the way Watson explained it was, well, everyone knows that not everyone makes the same money in the UFC, even though they're all part of the UFC. Like, McGregor makes the most, but these other guys on the card make less. That's kind of how he did it. Because I asked, well, you're going to do the JV thing. But we all know who the JVs are. We all know that Killian and I think Woods and or Atkins are going to be pros, right? Like, they're not saying they're not, right? And I think
Right.
they're working out the details. Like, with no Mutter pro team, it's kind of the only option in town, which is why I know everybody likes to always make a good old Battle Frog joke, but it's one of the things that Battle Frog did well, right? Like, oh shit, like Ryan and Lindsay are on that team, not on the Spartan team, right? And so having another player is good. And Mutter Mutter never really did much with their pro team anyway, but at least it was a place for them to land. And
Right.
and so we all know that these top guys probably get a few bucks, and then podium bonuses is like a thing, right? And the rest of these guys, like, what do they get? Like 3 free entries and a junk headband, because that's what the JV team got last year, right?
Right.
And so, but they get to call themselves Spartan Pros.
Hey, it's all about the Instagram profile bullet point, I guess.
I just saw an article. What hashtags are banned from Instagram? We can end on this. It's pretty hilarious. Do you want to hear what they are?
Yeah.
Because some of them are pretty obvious, right? For example, beauty blogger, ass day, bikini body, curvy girls. But then there's ones that people just didn't. I guess just happy Thanksgiving. Okay.
And hashtag.
Can hashtag. New Year's or New Year's Day. Puppy Dog Monday.
Okay.
Puppy Dog Mondays.
That meant something different. That's why.
Oh. Well, but I feel like all porn sites just used all these, or everybody. That's what they did. Like, listen,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I will throw in the occasional fit chicks and fit fam on a post, right? Occasionally, right? Because I know that at least it's relatively fitness related, right? Maybe we'll get one extra follower out of it. I don't do it every time. But Happy Thanksgiving was clearly like what's the word? Not abducted.
Abducted. I know what you're trying to say, but I would stick with abducted.
Right?
Yeah. They used it in a way that they shouldn't have in order to gain visions.
But does puppy dog really mean something else?
Yeah, you're a WWE fan. Puppies, come on. Jesus, Matt, you're like 12. I'll text it to you later.
I'm going to get a lot of messages about this one. Workflow. Workflow is a banned hashtag.
That's an odd one.
Desk is a banned hashtag.
How? I guess I'm going to have to take desk off my group of hashtags.
Right.
Madness.
All right. I think that's a good place to end for
All right, my man.
Our show that used to be 8 minutes and this time was 22 minutes worth of football talk and Tech Corner. But always great to have you on, Josh.
Don't worry. When this is our most downloaded episode, we're going to have to talk a whole lot more sports and tech. Then things are really going to be interesting.
All right. Have a great day, brother.
MKBHD, I'm coming for you, bro.
What's that? What?
You don't know who MKBHD is? That
No.
big like tech reviewer guy? Forget it. The tech people that are now fans of the show will get it.
Do you know who PewDiePie is?
Gross. Please don't say that word out loud. It's not even a real word.
All right. See you later.
All right. Peace.
That was your weekly Obstacle Discourse with Davis and Chace. These do come to you every Thursday. There are new episodes every Tuesday, the full-length interview style episodes, or me at the finish line, or whatever the heck else I do. Those are the regular episodes every Tuesday, every Thursday in your ears. Josh and I talking about the latest news. You can donate to Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Obstacle Racing Media, and that's a way for you to contribute because you love this content so much. Thanks for listening.